Van Halen.
Van Hagar.
No, it's Halen because this week we're playing Halen LGO 196. It's totally about David Lee Roth, Ballad of the Sword Thief.
Ah, makes sense.
Of course, Van Halen, the original, DLR.
Yep.
So, anyways, beside that, what did you think of Halen Ballad of
I actually
Sword
liked the
Thief?
game. I really liked it. The platforming, albeit a little floaty at first, it was pretty well balanced.
Mm-hmm. That was the main thing. I found like it was extremely ambitious as a student project because I think it needs to be analyzed with that point of view.
Oh yeah, it was like you told me firsthand that this was like a project from
Carleton University project by Skypire, and
but the way I look at
you
it,
saw in the credits too. There weren't a lot of people that had contributed.
In fact, there were only like 3 voices, 3 characters in the entire thing,
And like 2 or 3 motion cap animate or.
but because of how
actors,
but because of how big
actresses.
but because of how big the indie scene is, I mean, I could have been fooled and just thought that this was just one of those other small hand games and it wasn't like a student project.
Yeah. Well, I think it's. Well, after we finished the first level, I'm like, wow, this was a lot for a student project. And then from
It kept
there,
going, yeah.
It kept going. I was like, wait, are we going to be able to finish this?
And
Because
we were able to finish it. It's a really short game.
It is really short.
How much did it cost?
It's actually, they're letting anyone play it and download it from their website.
Perfect.
So, yes.
That
cost is good.
That is really good.
Compadre.
I remember playing Indivisible and it had that demo and it was good.
Yes. But I mean, it's such an ambitious project. It's got a great concept. Reminds me of Tomb Raider meets. There was something else I said.
Prince of Persia.
It feels like Shinobi, but like Shinobi without like any of the extra moves, or Prince of Persia. But Shinobi was first on the PS2 when they made it 3D. That's what it really reminded me of. I think if they had more like techniques, sword techniques and other things, that's somewhere they can take it. And we also talked about the camera. The camera's a little loosey-goosey. Unfortunately, it's sort of your main enemy in the game. The enemies aren't your enemy. It's just,
The camera.
Yeah, because like especially at the very end of that the game, like we were like, "Urgh."
Yeah.
So I think if they tried to do more platforming, more jumping like that, in the sort of like Tomb Raider vein, then I think that's something they definitely, if they want to add more content to this game Halen in the future, I think that's something they have to fix. Animations, as we said, it is a student project, but still I think if we're going to give honest feedback, they have to improve the animations. I think at the end you could see, like, I'm sure they are probably thinking themselves like, hey,
We could have done that better. But
we could have done that better if we had more time.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the leg
Yeah,
sort
and I
of
made
goes
fun of
through
that.
and, like,
yeah.
the arm was sort of, but I mean,
But everything
those
else,
are nitpicks.
it definitely felt like it wasn't like some student project. It was mainly more like some sort of, and that's the power of the indie market now, because now you can just think that any game that's been made from like a basement is now an indie game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now Steam has changed it so it's $100 to get your game on Steam. So I mean that's nothing, and almost anyone can afford that. Anyone that's serious about getting their game out there, really.
Not to mention that
easier.
they will reimburse you once like they make like $1,000 or $10,000 in sale.
Oh really? I didn't even know that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I mean that's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, it's not really like it's a gamble basically.
Might even see Halen on Steam in the next 6 to 12 months then, if it's just a matter of putting down $100 for sure. So I think the graphics were good. I mean, they are very basic in the sense, like if you're used to like other AAA, but they work. I mean, they work, but they're not like top of, they're not the most stunning graphics, but they do the job for sure. Enemies, AI I thought was kind of basic. To be perfectly honest, that's something they can definitely work on when they add more content. Enemies were pretty interesting though, at least the bulky guy that was moving about, the orange guy you were talking about, armored guy, yeah, he was interesting. The other AI, yeah, I mean, if that's something they could do. Sounds of voice acting, I mean, obviously they didn't have a voice actor that professional voice actor.
But they
it was
work with what
decent.
they got. I
yeah,
like
exactly.
the writing. I like it's
The writing
very,
was pretty good. I have to admit, the writing was.
it's cheesy when it needs to be cheesy, and it's melodramatic when it needs to be melodramatic.
Yeah, the writing is pretty good. I wouldn't say it was like stellar, but
It kind of feels a bit like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, a little bit like that. But the communication between Sharp and
Halen.
yeah, definitely was pretty good.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think they could improve the graphics. I'm not sure if they would lose the style of the game. I'm not sure about that.
I like the aesthetic as it is.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the look. Like they could polish it up a bit, maybe, and but yeah, definitely the sounds, AI, and the jumping. The camera is definitely like, because if you look at our Let's Play, you were like zooming, and then it's like, oh no, that's the end of the cliff, and it's like, oh, and jumping around.
But I really like
tough too.
some of the jumping mechanics too. Like there's this one part of the level where it's a chasm too big to cross, so you fall down to a pit. But at the bottom of the pit, and by the way, you don't have any falling damage in this game, which is good.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's a steel drum that allows you to supercharge your dashes.
Or dash.
Yeah. So I actually, after fooling around a little bit, I realized that if you point upwards, it gives me a aha moment, and it gives me that similar moment towards the end where I'm jumping around and I'm timing my jumps and actually gauging how long my jumps are, so that I don't.
It's a bit of strategy.
So I don't even have to because I think the problem is I'm way too adjusted with platformers that undershoot your thing, so I overshoot my jumps.
Yeah.
Like Mario Brothers, like each platformer has their own different way of how you jump. Basically.
This game, yeah, definitely. Like I would agree with that. With the camera, like you have to get used to the way the camera sort of like spins around and like sort of floats along with you.
I think
I find that sort of detrimental to your ability to play the game, and that's why I saw. If you go to our Let's Play as well, you'll see like Nick's playing, and then the camera's sort of like not working with him, but kind of working against him from being able to maneuver.
Yeah,
so
I think one big problem is
the camera's probably
the
the biggest
boss
thing I'd
battle.
say about this. Yeah.
There was a boss battle where you have to shoot this guy multiple times, and I mean, I kind of figured it out at the very end that you're supposed to stun him first because he'll just keep rolling out of the way. Then you shoot him with a charge shot. Yeah.
The hard part about that battle is you're not used to being able to come back infinite number of times, and that's what I had to wrap my mind around personally. Watching you was, oh, don't worry, you hit him a few times, that's okay, you can always come back. In most games, it's not like that. You die, you're dead. So that was one thing in my mind personally I had to wrap around.
But it works in our favor.
Well, yeah,
so
it does,
it's not
but
really
still,
a
like
problem.
it's not something that really happens very often in a video game. You're like, oh, I'll just die a million times. It's okay.
Yeah,
I'll
especially
take him out
since one funny
first.
thing though, I actually thank you for mentioning this. I was in like that cave with that giant orange thing that you have to blast. You have to
And he
blast.
followed
the
you
hole
inside
in.
to the checkpoint.
Yeah, and he followed me to the point where I actually feared that if I died, he'd just spawn camp me.
And just wail on you.
Yeah.
He's like the Womp. That's what I was thinking, actually, before we wrap this up. I was thinking this game really plays like Shadows of the Empire meets Tomb Raider. That's what I was thinking. Because that big orange brute thing
Reminds
is kind
you
of like
of
a giant
the-
wampa that falls around and like sneaks up on you and whacks you and goes.
I've never played Shadows of the Empire, but I do know what the hell you're talking about.
I was so good at that game, I almost beat it on Jedi.
Nice.
Yeah, it takes a lot of patience. I got to the very end on hard though. Like the second last level of the game.
So, final thoughts?
Final thoughts, I think it's good. It needs a lot more polish. Needs more polish. And so, camera, AI, most of the camera's your biggest enemy in this game, not the actual enemies that just stand there so you can shoot them and play target with them. But definitely, the camera, AI, and then sound. I mean, they can fix those easily if they have more funding. So.
If you don't mind the jumping mechanics, because it is a really good platformer,
And that's
the
tied in with
controls
the
are
camera,
very
sorry.
floaty. But if you can adjust to that, if you can adjust to, It's a very short game too, so
24 minutes to an hour.
you'll bang it out in an hour like we did.
Just bang it out.
Even less than that, because I think one guy cleared in like less than an hour.
25 minminutes.
Yeah.
That's why I said 25.
So I recommend, like, if you have nothing to do for an hour, just play this game a little
Download
bit.
it from their website, Skypyre, SKYPYRE, I think it is. So.
Or just Google Halen
yeah,
Sword
you'll find
Thief.
it. Yeah. You got anything else?
Yeah. Rock out.
Yeah, check out Van Halen. They're pretty good too, I hear. All right, keep in.
Adios.
Dude.